Welcome back to my channel. So, I am Kuro Aki. You can call me either Kuro or Aki. So, today we are doing another Overwatch discussion video. So, just mere hours ago, earlier today, Blizzard, or rather Jeff Kaplan, has announced on the Overwatch website and official YouTube channel that they have released Doomfist. I did want to go onto the PTR and give him a shot and record some videos and upload it to YouTube, but unfortunately the game won't let me on, which is very sad. But nonetheless, I'm very excited over the new Doomfist release. Just choked my own words. Anyway, so today there was a 2D anime style animation that was released that would explain the origins of Doomfist. So, Doomfist has been around since the very first cinematic of Overwatch, where we heard the little boy talk about Winston going to Primal Rage, Primal Rage, and punching the daylights out of Doomfist and defeating him. Doomfist has been set up for quite a long time to be this super villain that exists in the Overwatch universe and has been defeated before. We know that there has been 3 Doomfists according to the history of Overwatch, and with the expanded lore that has been announced today, we now know that the current Doomfist is actually the 3rd Doomfist, known as the Successor, whose real name is, please forgive me if I butchered the way his name is pronounced, but I believe it's Akande Ogundimu. Oh, I can't be as bad as Unit Loss. He tried. So he hails from Nigeria. He is the successor to the Doomfist moniker. He stole the position of Doomfist after killing the previous one. So going by the titles, I assumed the first Doomfist was the Savior, who was obviously a hero. The second one probably took over the title of Doomfist as well as the Gauntlet and became a villain known as the Scourge, who probably wanted to wipe everything out. Whilst the successor is taking on the Doomfist title and is applying his own ideologies through talent to create conflict and create a better world through wars and battles. But other than that, we know Doomfist has in fact been imprisoned, and he was recently busted out of prison by Reaper, who we assumed to be the leader of Talon, but that isn't exactly the case. It turns out that the Talon organization, the terrorist group, is actually run by a group of leaders. So it's like a league of villains, a council room, a board of leaders. So Doomfist will act as a figurehead to the Talon organization that may have feuds that coincide with Reaper or feuds that may conflict with him. So he is going to be quite interesting. I can't wait for more cinematics, because maybe there could be like a Talon internal conflict between Doomfist and Reaper, or maybe perhaps a 4th Doomfist in the future, but we will have to wait and see. So let's have a look at the actual character Doomfist. So he's affiliated with Talon, but other than that, his actual role within the game is a offensive hero. So a lot of us did speculate that he was going to be a tank, although I believe the Reddit leaks did mention that he was going to be a offense hero. And today's release or announcement did confirm that he's an offensive hero. He has the default ability Hand Cannon, where he can fire bullets from his knuckles, which sounds quite weird, but then again, he comes from a family that specializes in creating prosthetic limbs for people, so he probably had quite a number of enhancements done to his body. So yeah, his left hand, or his left fist, knuckle, whatever you want to call it, can fire off bullets, 4 bullets to be precise, and then over time they recharge. So it's to basically force you to not rely on long or mid-range combat, but to actually dive in there with close-range combat and smacking people in the face with your massive right fist, which is wielding the Doomfist gauntlet. So in terms of what he can actually do with the Doomfist gauntlets, let's have a look at his ability. He has Seismic Slam, which allows him to leap forward and smash into the ground, knocking nearby enemies towards him. Oh, towards him, not away from him. Okay, so that means he can draw people towards him. That sounds quite weird. And then he can do a Rising Uppercut, which allows him to knock people up into the air. And he can also do a Rocket Punch, which is his alternate attack. So if you hold the Rocket Punch, his alternate attack, and let it charge up, you'll be able to release the attack and smash through any barriers, which effectively nullifies the effective use of Reinhardt. So if Reinhardt's standing at a choke point, just bring out a Doomfist, and Doomfist will smack Reinhardt out of the way and probably towards a wall, dealing massive amounts of damage. So he has the best defense passive ability, which allows him to temporarily create some personal shields where damage can't be dealt towards him. Oh no, he generates a temporary shield when he deals ability damage, so the more you use his abilities to attack people, you can generate a shield that will protect you. So in a sense, he is a offense hero that borders towards a tank. To be honest, I would have preferred him to be like an offensive tank that is like D.Va, who is, I personally consider D.Va to be a mid-range, well, an all-purpose offensive tank, who I generally use for mid to close range combat, for like diving in and out, as well as applying pressure from long range distance. But for Doomfist, I would, if he was a tank, I would probably imagine him to be a tank that can survive a prolonged battle longer than a standard offense hero, and will be able to deal massive amounts of damage and create havoc as he dives in. But apparently they want to go with the route of offensive hero, so there's not a lot we can say. He also has the ability Meteor Strike, where he can jump into the sky and then crash down to the ground and deal a significant amount of damage on people, which is very interesting. I've seen some videos that people have recorded from the PCR and uploaded. So he just jumps into the sky and then he just drops down and kills people or knocks them away and deal damage. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, I think Doomfist will do a lot better than Orisa and Sombra, but considering how the Overwatch community is, I can see quite... I guess there could be a number of issues where people don't use him correctly. He may seem overpowered, but you have to bear in mind he's a close range combat hero, so if you can attack him from a distance before he can close that distance and bring the fight to you in a close range combat scenario, you have the overall advantage. In terms of Reinhardt, the thing is, the problem with Reinhardt I find is that there are good Reinhardts and there's bad Reinhardts. A bad Reinhardt will just keep the shield up and try and take as much damage and won't deal any damage at all. The thing is, Reinhardt was, until the release of Doomfist, the only close range combat hero that focused solely on melee strikes. Doomfist is, in my personal opinion, a melee striking hero. So if Reinhardt can survive a one-on-one close quarter combat fight with Doomfist, then he stands a very good chance at countering Doomfist. But again, I can imagine that the tanks category is gonna dip quite a significant amount, forcing the meta to lean towards defensive and offensive heroes more. The composition is definitely going to change. I'm not sure about the healing category, like the support category, that might change. But in terms of tanks, I could see Roadhog being of somewhat use if he can land hooks and deal damage, but he's not going to be able to finish him off in a one shot. Diva players will have to play quite smartly because they can't let the Doomfist charge straight into them and take them out of the mech, because she is going to have the same problem as Reinhardt. Reinhardt is going to be quite burdened. Well, he's going to be at a disadvantage with the release of Doomfist. Orisa may be able to counter Doomfist slightly, but I can see it not ending well. I mean, as long as Orisa can maintain pressure and keep the distance, she has a chance of killing Doomfist. But Doomfist, if he can close in and turn it into a close quarter combat, Orisa's just going to go down. And then we have Winston. I believe Winston will be able to counter Doomfist, while Sarah will probably end up in a very one-to-one combat where both will probably pull out and recover, so it will just become an endless troll match. But Doomfist will probably be a substitute for the sub-tank, so I imagine that metas from the point that after Doomfist's official release on the official live servers will reduce the tank picks to just one tank on a team, with possibly 3 or 4 offensive heroes, with Doomfist probably acted as a popular pick for a sub-tank, and it will probably be quite interesting to see how this goes. Obviously he won't have the HP of a tank, but he can be quite game-changing, but we'll just have to wait and see. But other than that, the animation was very fresh and interesting because they've moved away from the 3D cinematic. The 3D cinematics that they normally do for these sort of animations that they do. The 2D animations was top notch. It was very high quality. But it does raise the question of as to when this conflict took place, because a lot of people say that this took place as Doomfist was breaking out of prison, and then he's having flashback of when Winston beat him. But I don't think that is the case. I think that this incident might have taken place after the cinematic with Tracer and Winston beating Reaper and Widow, forcing them to retreat. Reaper probably breaking into the New Barney prison to release Doomfist. And then when Doomfist broke out of prison, he went to reclaim the Doomfist and then got into a fight with Tracer and Winston and Genji, who has caught up with the other 2 Overwatch agents, or former Overwatch agents, and got into a 3-on-1 fight, which resulted in Genji being incapacitated and then Tracer being glitched out and phasing in and out of time, and Winston to go into primal rage to fight him. Obviously, with Doomfist reclaiming the gauntlet, this event will either take place just after he defeated all the OR-15s, but definitely before the creation of Orisa. But it will be very interesting to see where this all fits in. I mean, it could be that when he stole the Doomfist gauntlet, Winston beat him and then he got thrown into prison for a while, and then he just broken out just recently, which means that Tracer and Genji are currently out of action, and Winston is the only standing member of Overwatch that is still active. But yeah, I mean, lore-wise, there's nothing else I can really say. But it's a bit interesting on my end to think and wonder when exactly this event took place. But yeah, enough of that. I think you've probably heard enough from me, but I hope you all do enjoy the new Doomfist release, and I hope you do come back to my channel to see what I have built up, created next for my next Overwatch discussion videos. I'm still trying to work out what else to discuss, but we'll figure something out. Anyways, if you do like my videos, please like and subscribe and leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you think. I think Doomfist will be an excellent addition to the game, and I can't wait to play him. So until then, I'll see you next time.